Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshakarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The Srimad Bhagavatam is described as Amala Purana. Amala Purana means the particular scripture which is 100% pure. In what way is it 100% pure? That there are no topics concerning anything other than spirituality. That is, topics concerning Krishna. That's why it is also called as Krishna Samhita, also called as Paramahamsa Samhita. It is meant especially for the liberated souls. Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam. So, what is this topic of pregnancy of Diti in the evening doing in this Bhagavatam? Why this topic? It's a question that may be raised. What has pregnancy of Diti got to do with Krishna Samhita, topics of Krishna? This is based on a question that is raised by Vidura while he is inquiring from Maitreya. Vidura is a pure devotee of Krishna. He was formerly Yamaraj. Yamaraj was cursed to take birth as Vidura by one Rishi, by one Muni. And actually Yamaraj is never subject to any curse because he is pure devotee himself. But just to make an excuse for participating in Krishna Leela, Yamaraj was awarded one curse through the agency of one Muni, Mandavya Muni. So Yamaraj actually is taking birth as Vidura simply to participate in Krishna Leela. When Krishna comes, many of his devotees, they also come to participate in Krishna's pastimes, to witness Krishna's pastimes, to assist Krishna in his pastimes. So this pregnancy of Diti is also a part of Krishna's pastimes. Now see the connection. This is important to understand, the connection. Bhagavatam aims to explain the connection of everything with Krishna. That's how it becomes completely spiritual. Actually, everything is connected with Krishna. There is nothing except Krishna in the entire existence, material or spiritual existence. But in material existence, our tendency is to forget Krishna, to forget the connection of everything with Krishna. That's our tendency. So, Bhagavatam, and even before that the Bhagavad Gita, establishes connection of everything with Krishna. And that's how Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam are completely transcendental literature. So, how is pregnancy of Diti connected with Krishna's pastimes? That is what exactly Maitreya is describing to Vidura. Vidura was born as the younger brother of Dhritarashtra and Pandu. So, because he took birth as the son of a maidservant of the king, so he did not exactly have the same position as Dhritarashtra and Pandu in terms of inheriting the royal wealth or the royal position. But still, Dhritarashtra was very kind to his brother Vidura, and Dhritarashtra maintained him in the palace in a nice position. But when Vidura tried to give good advice to Dhritarashtra, because Dhritarashtra had a son who was demoniac by nature, Asuri Swabhava, Duryodhana. So this Duryodhana tried to kill the Pandavas. You know the history, in the Mahabharata it is mentioned. So when Duryodhana tried to kill the Pandavas, Vidura tried to advise Dhritarashtra that you are maintaining sin personified Duryodhana, even though he is actually not worthy of being maintained. So Vidura advised Dhritarashtra that you should not maintain Duryodhana because he is unnecessarily trying to give so much trouble to the Pandavas, who are completely pure, sinless. So when Duryodhana came to know about this, immediately he became angry against Vidura and he insulted Vidura. He spoke very harshly against Vidura. So Vidura, he actually was unaffected by what insult Duryodhana actually cast on him. But just to make an excuse for leaving the palace and going away to a holy place of pilgrimage, he apparently, externally, he got very much insulted. And he left the palace and went away. And he traveled and traveled and traveled and traveled through various places of pilgrimage, purifying himself of whatever contamination there might have been in his association with different materialistic persons in the palace of Dhritarashtra, Hastinapura. So he traveled till he reached a place, a holy place, where he met Uddhava. As soon as he met Uddhava, he stopped traveling and he began to inquire from Vidura, Vidura began to inquire from Uddhava about Krishna. Why? Because Uddhava is the recognized devotee whom Krishna instructed just before Krishna left this planet. And Uddhava was supposed to actually disseminate this knowledge that Krishna taught Uddhava. That's described also in the Bhagavatam in the 11th canto, Uddhava Gita. Just like Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, Krishna spoke Uddhava Gita to Uddhava. And that knowledge which Uddhava received, he disseminated that knowledge to different persons after Krishna's departure from this world. So, Vidura inquired from Uddhava about different topics concerning Krishna consciousness. But Uddhava did not exactly answer all the questions from Vidura. Why? Because when Uddhava was being instructed by Krishna, Maitreya was also present. Maitreya also was present to hear Krishna's instructions to Uddhava. And Maitreya was elderly person as compared to Uddhava. Uddhava was younger than Maitreya. So in order to maintain the maryada, the etiquette of giving respect to older devotees, so Uddhava directed Vidura to go and approach Maitreya and inquire from Maitreya. So accordingly, Vidura followed Uddhava's instruction and went to Maitreya. And he began to inquire from Maitreya different topics. Basically, Vidura wanted to hear about Krishna from Maitreya. So when Maitreya began to describe, Vidura began asking different questions. So at one stage, when Vidura was hearing the pastimes of the Lord in his form as Varaha pastime. So that Varaha pastime, Vidura heard Maitreya describe that Lord appeared as Varaha at the beginning of the Swayambhuva Manvantara, when the earth was inundated by water at the end of the previous day of Brahma. At the end of Brahma's day, all the planets beginning from the middle planetary system are inundated by the water. Then at the beginning of the next day of Brahma, the waters recede and again the creation begins by Brahma. So the next day of Brahma, that is the present day we are living in, this day of Brahma, when the water did not recede, the earth was still flooded by water. Then Swayambhuva Manu, who is one of the Prajapatis, at the beginning of the day of Brahma, Brahma creates by first of all creating the Prajapatis, and the Prajapatis create the different species. So the Manus create the human species, Manushya. So Swayambhuva Manu, the first Manu of this day of Brahma, he was entrusted the task of creating humans. Then he saw the earth as the suitable place for inhabitation by the humans and other species. He saw the earth is inundated by water, flooded by water. So the earth has to be, the water has to be removed from the earth. So he went to Lord Brahma and reported this, that the earth, which is a suitable place for the inhabitation by the humans, that is flooded by water. What to do now? Before I create, this earth has to be made a suitable place. So then Brahma began to think, what can he do? Even Brahma expresses inability to do anything to remove the water from the earth. As Brahma was thinking what to do, he began to pray to the Supreme Lord. Even as Brahma was praying, the Lord appeared in his form as Varaha. He appeared in his form as Varaha and he rescued the earth from the bottom of the Garbhodaka ocean where it was lying, being inundated by water. And then Swayambhuva Manu continued with his creation, with his generation of human species. Then immediately Vidura, after hearing this pastime of Varaha rescuing the earth at the beginning of the Swayambhuva Manvantara, he said, I have also heard that the Lord in his form as Varaha, he killed one demon, Hiranyaksha. Now can you describe that pastime of the Lord as Varaha killing that Hiranyaksha? So then Maitreya began to describe this particular pastime of the Lord in his form as Varaha killing this demon Hiranyaksha. Actually, it is described that the Lord appeared as Varaha 2 times. Once at the beginning of Swayambhuva Manvantara, another time at the beginning of Chakshusha Manvantara. These Manvantaras are different periods of time in a day of Brahma. In the day of Brahma there are 14 Manvantaras. So in the Manvantara there are different persons who assume different positions as controllers of different aspects of this universe. In this universe there are different controllers called Devatas. Among the Devatas, only 3 Devatas are called Chiralokapala. Their position does not change for the entire duration of the universe. Who are they? Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. Brahma's position as Brahma, he does not change his position throughout the entire duration of the life of the universe. Shiva does not change his position. Vishnu does not change his position. All others, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, all of them change their position. They can maximum remain in their position for the duration of one Manvantara. At the end of the Manvantara, all their positions change except the position of Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. So, these Manvantaras are named differently. The first Manvantara in this day of Brahma is called Swayambhuva Manvantara because a son of Brahma, he took charge of the position of Manu. So he was named as Swayambhuva Manu, the son of Brahma or Swayambhu. So the first Manvantara is called Swayambhuva Manvantara. The 4th Manvantara is called Chakshusha Manvantara. So this Chakshusha Manvantara is another Manvantara at the beginning of which there was born this big demon Hiranyaksha. Actually 2 demons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. These 2 demons, they took birth as the son of Diti and Kashyapa. So this Hiranyaksha, he gave lot of trouble to the people in general and particularly to saintly persons and to the Devatas. So the Devatas prayed to the Lord and the Lord appeared as Varaha and killed this Hiranyaksha. So this Lord killing Hiranyaksha in the form of Varaha is the second appearance of the Lord as Varaha. So Maitreya is describing this particular incarnation of the Lord, second appearance as Varaha. Now, how did Hiranyaksha take birth as Hiranyaksha? How did he take birth as this big demon? Who is this Hiranyaksha? What is his history? So when Vidura asked this question of the history of Hiranyaksha, then Maitreya began to describe the history of Hiranyaksha is Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu are actually the doorkeepers of the Vaikuntha planet. But they were cursed by the 4 Kumaras to actually take birth as demons because these 2 doorkeepers of Vaikuntha, Jaya and Vijaya, they stopped Kumaras from entering Vaikuntha when the Kumaras were wandering in the universe and suddenly they happened to reach one of the Vaikuntha planets. In this universe also, there is a Vaikuntha planet. Because the Lord, as Kshirodak Chayi Vishnu, the maintainer of this universe, he resides in his own planet, particular planet called Shweta Dvipa. So that is also a Vaikuntha planet. And in that Vaikuntha planet, the Lord resides as Vishnu. The Vishnu form resembles the Narayana form, the four-handed Narayana form. So, when the Kumaras tried to enter that Vaikuntha planet of Vishnu, they were stopped at the gate, at the seventh gate actually, by this Jaya and Vijaya. Because these Kumaras, they look like small boys. They look like 5-year-old boys. The reason is, even though the Kumaras are the oldest persons in this universe, they look like small boys. Why? Because when the Kumaras were born, they realized that the goal of life is self-realization. So when they realized the goal of life is self-realization, then they also realized that this sex impulse is simply a disturbance for self-realization. And as the body grows old, like when we are born as small children, that sex impulse is not there. But as we grow older, as we mature, as the body matures, then the sex impulse is becoming prominent. So the Kumaras, in order to avoid this disturbance due to sex impulse, by yogic power, they decided they are going to keep their body as the body of 5-year-old Kumara. That stage of life is called Kumara Avastha, 5-year-old. So they look like small boys, but actually they are keeping their bodily form like that just for the sake of being seriously practicing self-realization. So these Kumaras, they look like small boys, but they are not small boys. They are very, very learned. And they follow the path of Jnana Marga, and they have studied the scriptures, they have contemplated on the subject matter of the Vedic literature, they are self-realized, they realize their nature as spirit, they are also realize the absolute truth as Brahman, they are Brahman realized, and therefore they are liberated souls, and therefore they are free to wander everywhere without any restriction. But those who don't know their identity, they may think, who are these small boys? So when these Kumaras tried to enter the Vaikuntha, Jaya and Vijaya mistook them to be small boys simply wandering without any particular aim. So they stopped them. Who are you? What are you trying to do here? So immediately the Kumaras became very angry, because they are recognized as liberated souls, great learned sages. They have free access to every place. Why are we being stopped? Who are these people who are trying to stop us? So the Kumaras became angry and cursed this Jaya and Vijaya to actually unfit to actually be in Vaikuntha. Unfit to be in Vaikuntha. So immediately the Kumaras cursed these doorkeepers to go and take birth in the material world as asuras. So immediately the doorkeepers realized their mistake, and they begged forgiveness from these Kumaras, the two doorkeepers. And as they were begging forgiveness, immediately the Lord Vishnu, he appeared and he pacified the Kumaras. And actually the Kumaras, that time they had darshan of the personality of Godhead Vishnu. Before that, they didn't have knowledge of the Supreme Lord or Supreme Absolute Truth as personality of God, Bhagavan. They only knew the Absolute Truth as Brahman. But after this incident, they realized the Absolute Truth as Bhagavan, the personality of God. Immediately, they paid obeisances to the Supreme Lord when he appeared there at the 7th gate of the Vaikuntha planet, particular Vaikuntha planet. So, when they paid obeisances, they smelled the tulsi leaves that had been offered to the lotus feet of Vishnu. And that fragrance of tulsi entered their nostrils. Immediately they experienced a change of consciousness. And that change of consciousness gave rise to ecstasy, which they had never experienced before, even though they were situated in Brahmananda. Shankaracharya says, Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam. Shankaracharya actually, as is mentioned by Prabhupada here, he is the incarnation of Shiva to actually preach this Mayavada philosophy, which preaches godlessness among atheists. So Shankaracharya, while teaching this Mayavada philosophy, he also has taught something about spiritual subject matter, about Brahman. So Shankaracharya is teaching that this material happiness is insignificant, is temporary, is ultimately useless, it's illusory. So Shankaracharya teaches us to aim for spiritual happiness, and that spiritual happiness is called Brahmananda, or the quality of Brahman, quality of spirit. So he says, Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam. It is the supreme pleasure. Now the supreme pleasure, Brahmananda, is supreme pleasure as compared to any material happiness. The material happiness also is varying. It is not the same everywhere, in every situation. In the Taittiriya Upanishad it is described that there are different grades of happiness in different planets, because all planets are not the same. The lower planets, least happiness. Middle planets, there is some happiness and some distress. And in the upper planets, there is plenty of material happiness. Practically no distress, not much of distress. So even the happiness that is available in Brahmaloka, Brahma's planet, that is the highest happiness available in this material world. The happiness in the Brahmaloka. That Brahmaloka happiness is many millions of times multiplied when compared to the happiness on the earth, material happiness on the earth. Like each planet you go higher, it is 10 times more compared to the maximum available happiness on the earth. The next planet above the earth, the happiness is 10 times more than what is available on the earth. Then you go to the next planet higher, it is 10 times higher than that previous planet. Then you go still higher, 10 times, it goes on multiplying. And by the time you come to Brahmaloka, the highest planet in this material world, the happiness is many millions and billions of times more than that available on the earth. But that happiness on Brahmaloka also when compared to the happiness of impersonal realization, Brahman realization, the happiness of merging into the effulgence of Brahman, Brahma Jyoti, or realizing the Brahman nature or Brahman aspect of the absolute truth. That Brahmananda, that's called Brahmananda, that is very, very, very much greater than even the happiness on Brahmaloka. So, that happiness is totally different in quality. It cannot be actually compared with any material happiness. So, that Shankaracharya's teaching aim for that happiness. Give up this material happiness. But the happiness of devotional service, of bhakti, the happiness bhakti is actually a kind of happiness that is different from this Brahmananda. In Brahmananda, there is no rasa, there is no rasa, there is no spiritual nectar. This bhakti rasa, the happiness of devotional service, is tasted through what is called as bhakti rasa. That bhakti rasa is like amrita, is like nectar. Bhakti rasa amrita, and that bhakti rasa amrita, the happiness of bhakti rasa amrita, is many billions and trillions of times more than Brahmananda. Because in Brahmananda there is no rasa. So, these Kumaras, they had experienced Brahmananda, but now they began to experience the happiness of smelling the tulsi leaves at the lotus feet of Narayana, Vishnu. So immediately they began to experience ecstasy which they had never experienced before. Then they understood that this is the different grade of happiness, different from Brahmananda. And they became devotees. After this particular experience, they became devotees. So that is described elsewhere in the Bhagavatam, that they became devotees. But nonetheless, the doorkeepers of heaven, they were cursed to appear as asuras in this material world, in this earth, in this material world. So, because the Lord, on behalf of his doorkeepers, he asked the Kumaras to pardon his doorkeepers because they made a mistake of stopping them, wrongly stopped them. So the Kumaras immediately begged forgiveness from the Lord for having cursed the doorkeepers, and they began to tell the Lord, whatever you desire, you may do accordingly. We are at fault for having cursed the Kumaras, for having cursed the doorkeepers, Jaya and Vijaya. Now Jaya and Vijaya are at fault having stopped the Kumaras. So the Lord is now actually telling that the doorkeepers deserve to get some punishment for having wrongly stopped you. And actually the Lord told the Kumaras that if you may excuse them, that they may quickly come back after receiving some token punishment, they may quickly come back to this Vaikuntha. So then it was settled that just 3 births, they will take birth as asuras and they will be delivered personally by the Lord in all the 3 births as asuras when they are born. So the first birth they took as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. They appeared as the son of Diti and Kashyapa. Now how did they appear as the son of Diti, and why Diti and Kashyapa particularly? That is because of a wrong time that Diti conceived sons, a son actually. Diti conceived at the wrong time. That's why it is described here. Pregnancy of Diti in the evening. Pregnancy of Diti in the evening. So the background is for this verse is that once Diti was one of the several wives of the sage Kashyapa. Kashyapa is a Prajapati. He is a Prajapati, that means he is meant to increase the population of the universe. So he married the daughters of Daksha. Daksha is another Prajapati. So he married the daughters of Daksha, 13 daughters of Daksha, and Diti was the youngest. So Diti, she was the only one who did not have children through her husband Kashyapa. All her other sisters had sons through Kashyapa, and she also desired to have a son through her husband. So she approached her husband and requested him that I am desirous having a son. So her husband told her, yes, you can have. But Diti insisted that she immediately wants to actually combine with her husband to have a son, immediately. So then Kashyapa is pointing out, this is not the right time. The time is not proper. This particular time is not proper. Why? He told her, you have to wait a little time. Why? Because this particular time is inauspicious. So this is the consideration in the material world. For everything, there is consideration of time, appropriate time, auspicious and inauspicious time. So what is considered inauspicious is the time when actually the time is ruled by different personalities at different periods of time. Krishna also describes this time for quitting the body in the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. The auspicious and inauspicious time for quitting the body. The yogis can choose the time when they can quit the body. So for that, Krishna describes the auspicious time when they quit, they don't come back, again take birth. And they quit as an inauspicious time when they again take birth. They have to take birth again, they come back to this world. So Krishna describes different personalities who are controlling the passage of the soul at different periods of time. So this particular time, it is under the control of Shiva. And Shiva has got different forms. Shiva as Bhutarat, the lord of the ghosts, Bhuta, Preta, Pishacha, so many different varieties of ghosts are there, who are actually given shelter by Shiva because they are condemned because of committing very grievous sin. They are condemned to take birth as to remain as ghosts without a physical body. So without a physical body, they are frustrated in their attempt to enjoy materially. So these ghosts are placed in the womb of women who indulge in sex at the wrong time. What is that wrong time? Particularly this Sandhya Kala. There are 3 Sandhya Kalas during a day. The junction period of 2 different periods of time. Prata Sandhya, early morning at the time of sunrise, when the night is ending and the day is beginning. That's called one Sandhya, Prata Sandhya. Then there is another Sandhya, noon time, when the first half of the day is ending and the second half of the day is beginning. The sun rises in the east. Which is east? This is east. So sun rises here, comes overhead. When it comes overhead, half the day is over. Then the second half of the day begins, the sun starts setting. So when the sun starts setting, that second half of the day, beginning, ending of the first half of the day, that's called Madhyanika. The middle of the day is another Sandhya Kala. And the last Sandhya is when the sun is setting, the day is ending and the night is beginning. Sayam Sandhya. So the Sayam Sandhya, particularly when Diti wanted to have combined with her husband for conceiving a child. So that is the wrong time, inauspicious time. That was what Kashyapa is describing to, telling his wife, Diti, this is not the right time, this is inauspicious time. Because Shiva is traveling with his ghostly companions, with the Bhutas. And these Bhutas, actually, they are desirous of getting a material body, a physical body. So, Shiva, what he does, he places these ghosts in the wombs of women who indulge in sexual intercourse at this time, Sayam Sandhya time. So, Diti wanted to have sex at this particular inauspicious time. So, Kashyapa was telling her, not this time, no. This is not the right time, you just wait till this Sayam Sandhya is over and then I will satisfy you. And then the description continues. So here it is being described, this Maitreya is describing to Vidura that pregnancy of Diti in the evening means Diti insisted, no, I want to have sex now. Immediately I want to have sex. So Kashyapa, when he saw that his wife was very much insistent, he agreed to satisfy her, and that is how Diti actually conceived at the wrong time, and therefore the demons, her twins appeared, twin sons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu appeared as her sons, two sons, demons as demons. That's how demons were born as the sons of Diti and Kashyapa, and as demons they gave a lot of trouble to saintly persons, and that's how the Lord appeared as Varaha and Narsimha to kill these two demons. Actually, it is the doorkeepers who are appearing, the servants of the Lord, and therefore the Lord personally comes to kill them. Lord personally came as Varaha and Narsimha to deliver these two doorkeepers. That's the history. So that history is being described by Maitreya to Vidura. The details are given in different places in the Bhagavatam. So I'll stop here. Nantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. One question. They don't change their position. Gita Shloka says that Brahmaloka onwards till the bottommost planet, all planets are places of repeated birth and death. Brahma, he also has to die, but his death is the end of the duration of the universe. Duration of the universe. But before that, there is death for everyone except the residents of Brahmaloka. Except the residents of the, not Brahmaloka alone, it is the four planetary systems above. Mahatloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka, they don't die. They go to sleep during the night of Brahma. They go to sleep. So they don't change their body, but the position of the particular devatas, they cannot hold on. They don't change their body, but they can't hold on their positions. The position they have to change. And Brahma, he does not change his position, and he does not change his body. He does not die at the end of his day. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.